update on the Sound of Freedom's international box office here. The movie made around $400,000 in America this weekend. You know, making it one of the highest grossing independent movies of all time. One of the biggest successful movies of an independent, studio, that is independent from the rest of Hollywood. Because usually every single Hollywood movie, every single movie that is in the theaters is produced by Hollywood. But Sound of Freedom is a outsider movie. And yeah. So I'm going to talk about the true story of Sound of Freedom, about the guy, doing other stuff, as well. But we'll not be talking about that. We're just talking about the box office here. And the movie The Sound of Freedom has made $26 million internationally. So this is an update about the international box office. This is probably mostly due to it doing really well in Latin America. As well, the movie is doing really well outside of basically making a lot of money in Latin America, where the movie is based out of Latin America. So opened number 1 in Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Belize, Paraguay, which Belize is an English-speaking country, if you did not know anything about that. Chile, Uruguay, Odyssey, and Dominican Republic. It is not open in Brazil for another week or two. So, it's probably going to do well in Brazil. Here. So, Sound of Freedom movie is doing very well. Well, in Latin America, as made $7.5 million at the box office, now going up to $21 million because of how well it's doing in all these countries as well. So, it's doing really well in all of these countries. Again, there is really no competition, but it's doing better. I think it's doing better than Blue Beetle, which is pretty hilarious in Latin America. It's doing better than Blue Beetle. The movie that said, oh my god, Latin America must watch Blue Beetle. It's so amazing, It's so woke. Oh, no one went to go see it. No, we watched The Sound of Freedom instead. That's the most hilarious thing in the world. That an independent movie is beating, So this movie will probably continue doing well in Latin America. It's doing okay in Australia, South Africa, and United Kingdom. But yeah, I am sorry that the numbers do not report the full numbers for The Sound of Freedom. Unlike every other movie, literally, as well. Same thing with Elemental as well. Okay, because Elemental, according to Box Office Mojo, is at $484 million. Even though according to the numbers, they took $2 million away from Elemental. The movie is coming at $484 million, which means this movie is $16 million away from breaking even at the box office. I don't think it will. This movie is basically, there is nothing coming out though. That's the only thing about this movie. There is really nothing coming out. But it's really only making money in Japan and, all the other markets that are still in, that's still making money in. So it's still going to probably make a couple million more in Japan. Probably 3 or 4 million in Japan, and probably 3 or 4 million elsewhere, making this movie make, around $494 million. I think would probably be the final tally for this movie as well, Elemental. But yeah, that is about the box office updates for Elemental and The Sound of Freedom. So Elemental is currently at negative 16 million here. And we have the newer movies, including Nun 2, which will update next Sunday, negative $15 million. Equalizer 3, negative $68 million. Gran Turismo, negative $57 million. Strays, negative $80 million. That movie is basically dead. Blue Beetle, negative $146 million. The last major box office success was the Meg 2 with net positive $63 million as well. And then Talk to Me, Barbie, Oppenheimer, as well. But you have a lot of... The Nun 2 is definitely going to make profit, so the Nun 2 will make money. The Nun 2 only has a week of box office totals, which will most likely pass the $100 million it needs to make to break even, as it made $85 million globally. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, hopefully this is the final nail in the coffin for My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Okay, This is a movie series that did not need two sequels. Okay, it did not need two sequels. Equalizer 3 always depends on how well it does internationally. Okay, say if it have totals, it's not doing too well internationally, which is why it has not broken even at all because the movie is not doing too well internationally. Gran Turismo, it's the opposite, where it's not doing too well domestically. But yeah, numbers still reports Elemental at $476 million, even though Box Office Mojo reports at $484 million as well. Transformers Rise of Beats at $447 million here as well. I think we have to update that as well. Which means that movie has a final loss of $57 million as well, mostly due to a massive underperformance in one key market, which was China. Okay, Dial of Destiny, we haven't updated that movie, but Sound of Freedom is here to $10 million. But we can go further down here for Gran Turismo at $93 million. This movie is doing much better internationally than it is domestically. The movie isn't really doing too well domestically. I think it's gonna end up around 50 million, around 40 to 50 million domestically. Essentially, the movie is in its third week, and no one's going to see it. Okay, it's still doing around 40 to 45 million. It's doing that badly domestically. It's doing that poorly domestically. This is a movie that, I didn't really think people were going to go see as well. The rigs are basically doing the stated line as well. Finally got there, but no one is going to see Gran Turismo based off a true story. No hard feelings. Again, they really just took that out of theaters, so it didn't really have any chance to do it internationally. You know, the movie is making 10 million internationally a week, but no. We're taking out all international theaters. Totally fine. Okay, Equalizer 3 again. This movie needs to perform better internationally if it wants to make money at the box office as well. But I think it's still gonna do similarly domestically, so the 4 million domestically, which will make it around 147 million domestically. But it needs to make another 50 million internationally. No, another 34 million internationally also as well, where this is gonna be another big thing. So I think the Equalizer 3 will eventually make back its money. And yeah, Sound of Freedom is currently right here behind these Chinese movies. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Overall, this has been a terrible year for Hollywood, and movies like Sound of Freedom further prove that we need an alternative to Hollywood. Okay, people should have an alternative to Hollywood because Hollywood has been doing awful. Okay, we had five, I think, major successful movies, like major blockbuster movies this year. Okay, with our major movies that make over $500 million that were profitable as well. Because Wizard of Oz making Part 1, Little Mermaid, and Fast X were not profitable movies. They're all three box office flops, so, as well. And yeah, that's it about this video here. Goodbye.